started doing a little bit of a breakdown. This will be a separate video at the end of the day. So if you weren't able to watch the full trial all today, I'll kind of give a 10-15 minute breakdown. Like I've said from the beginning of this case, this judge is a breath of fresh air, along with both sides working together to try to make this as speedy and, easy for the jury as possible, stipulating or talking about things, having things to the other side at the right time. Before the jury even came in this morning, the judge was kind of ruling on, there was a photo that the defense had found. Let me back up. If you guys came in towards the last hour, there was a rug that was introduced, or pieces of rug that had presumptively red-brown stains on them, found and introduced today into evidence. But the state wanted to bring in, there was a video with Anna and her children playing on this particular rug in order to establish that it was a rug from the house, and Anna had basically had contact with it. It was, from their house. There was a video, and basically the judge ruled that there had to be a still shot and keep the children out of there. And basically, again, gave very clear directions on what she was not going to allow. Both sides added feedback and input, and they were all able to come up with a reasonable compromise of only showing a very, like, the head and shoulders of Anna in the shot with the rug. So that was a big thing that got through, and again just illustrates how much every side and the judge are working together to make this case run smoothly. There was also more talk about the William Fasto text. This has been a big issue. William Fasto was the gentleman that Anna was carrying on an extramarital affair with. There were text messages that the state wanted to bring in. The defense was not wanting to bring all of them in. And there were sort of negotiations on parsing down all of these text messages to only leave in the relevant information. But what you just heard, so this is kind of an update for at the end of the day, is that the defense has strategically now decided at the end of the day to allow all of the text communications between Anna and Michael Fasto in. So that is not going to be, as big of an issue. We started out the day with the defense cross with Detective Garino. Now, there wasn't a whole lot in here that I think helped the defense. They mainly wanted to focus on, and probably the biggest oof yet in this trial, their main focus was corroborating their narrative that the only search for divorce that happened on any of the devices that have thus far been introduced into the trial was on 12/27. And the searches for the divorce were only in the context of Brian possibly having to go to federal trial or federal prison due to his fraud case. And Anna would need to have, financial things in place to take care of the boys. That is a bit contradicted by the fact that every single divorce search was in the context of men's rights and men securing their assets. What states were better for men in divorce? What strategy were better for men? So it doesn't seem to ring true that this was only to search for, keeping assets in Anna's name to protect the boys and her, should he have to go to jail. In the strangest, question ever, the defense made a really big point to point out that in totality on the 27th of December, there was only 23 minutes spent searching divorce. Now, he also made clear that there were 4 days of dismemberment, how to dispose of bodies, how to clean up a body. and possibly the biggest oof moment of the entire daggone trial. The minute that the defense's cross is done, the state simply comes up and says, "Oh, by the way, in the 4 days of dismemberment, was there a search for my spouse is missing? How can I get divorced?" So again, the biggest self-own that I've seen in the trial thus far. I don't think that the defense made any headway there. There were a lot of sort of foundational witnesses today. There were, let's see here. We've got someone from the TESCS system, someone from Border Patrol, William Tully, and basically he was there to confirm that after January 1st, 2023, there were no indications at any of the borders and anywhere you would get checked leaving or entering the country. There has been no evidence past that date that Anna Walshe has either tried to enter or leave the country. And there was a point made that Anna had dual citizenship with Serbia, and it was pointed out that even if she had tried to use her Serbian passport or ID, it still would have been noted in the sort of the system that CBP uses. The next person that came up was Patrick Reardon. He was the canine handler that searched sort of the wooded area around the house in one of the earlier searches. Basically, they did not find anything. The dog did not find anything. And but, you still have to go through and show where you did that. The next person was Tom Manito from JetBlue. And again, he just kind of showed that there have been no future flights and that several flights made for January had been pre-booked by Anna in November, and they were no-shows. She didn't ever, actually show up for a flight after the 1st of January. So again, these are all kind of building up that momentum that, she is probably no longer with us. We then had Seth Fox, and he was a subpoena specialist for Lyft. Again, just confirming that there were no Lyft or Ubers sent to the house early morning on January the 1st, which, Brian said Anna left around 5:36. We then had Allison Weimer, and she was the same thing, only for Uber. We then got to Michael Kenyon, and he was an officer for Swampamach. Look, some town near Cohasic, I guess. He was one of the officers that responded on January the 9th to, again, assist with the trash and dumpster sort of investigation. There were a lot of police officers that were called in. You had the CERT team. You had the CSI who was on the stand. So there were a lot of people that were involved in finding all that trash from both the compactor and the just regular dumpster. Then it was Sergeant Amy Waterman, and her part of this case was just flying down to Washington, D.C. and checking on the status and collecting evidence from Anna's townhouse. For this case. She did make the point that the entire apartment was pretty clean and tidy. It didn't look like, someone left in a hurry, or there was still food in the refrigerator, maybe indicating that she was intending to come back. I mean, it didn't seem like anyone left in a rush. They did collect a couple of bills and certain things just to, I think, prove that this was Anna's residence. Again, the defense really didn't talk to a bunch of people. We then had Peter Capozzi, and he was actually the owner of the house where Brian and Anna and the children were living, was leased to them. And he just kind of went through, he mainly saw Brian. Now, it is through him that we come to realize that Brian's mother is paying for the lease. So all of the lease payments have all come from Brian's mother. He kind of went through a couple small little repairs he did. Now, if you were here the rest of the trial, during the first initial visit, there was a hole in the ceiling plaster that was found in Brian's room. And so the defense did ask if that was something that they would have to pay for, like a damage that they had done. Again, not sure why we decided to bring up the fact that Brian has a hole in the ceiling. A lot of the defense has not made sense as of yet. I'm hoping that it does, because I do wonder what we're going to be doing here for a month if this is what we've got. We then came to Mark Selvey, and he was the life insurance agent for Anna. Now, Brian had attempted to get life insurance first. He was, in fact, the cold contact for this agent. But because he had a pending federal case, a pending felony case in the federal court system, there was no way for him to get life insurance. So Anna was able to get both term and whole life insurance. The main difference between these is that the whole life insurance can be used to kind of build fiscal security. So it can be seen as sort of an investment in the way retirement. Look, I don't know fiscally stuff, but that's the way it was explained. Now, the defense kind of went a little wonky here. Now, the insurance agent explained on direct that you have to sign a medical release form for your doctor to basically release all of your records. You have to do a couple of things like blood test and, vitals. And the defense, again, is going on this sudden adult death syndrome, or whatever it is he called him. Again, it's too late in the day to remember shenanigans. But basically, the defense spent a lot of time trying to get across to the jury that just because the life insurance gave Anna the highest tier health rating, so basically she was in perfect health, less than 2 years later, she can, of course, keel over dead. Again, they're still trying to harp on to this natural death and then hysterical grief dismemberment. We then get to probably the most, important person in this particular case, at least I believe, or at least when things got real for Brian. And that was this last particular witness. He was the crime scene. He both works in the lab, but in this particular testimony and for what he did in this case, he was the technician that went over the Volvo and also went over and processed all of the evidence that was gathered from both the dumpster and trash compactor. There were a lot of pictures taken. I think on a kind of tangential note, but I think it will make sense if I address it here. This is the first day where Brian has looked visibly uncomfortable, almost a bit shell-shocked toward the end. He did sort of maintain kind of a slim bit of charm and kind of nonchalance when he was talking to the female lawyer, his female lawyer. But he's done a lot of scratching, a lot of self-soothing if you study bodyology. Today is the first time I think it has hit him that he's not going to be able to talk his way out of this. And I think the reality of seeing the blood-stained rug, the blood-stained everything. There is so much evidence. I will be going through probably this weekend and making a breakdown video of all of what was found in the bags, and then what the number and everything was, so we can kind of keep a good idea of what all has been presented. I'll probably do a just giant weekly wrap up for all of the weeks that this trial is on. That being said, the defense did what they could for this particular witness, pointing out, some of the no-nos that I saw in that it looks like at least the first bag of trash was dumped directly on the floor of the sorting recycling facility. It does seem that that process changed once the CSI got to the scene. There was blood found in the Volvo in multiple different places. A lot of the contact points, visors, door seats, buttons where you would manipulate the placement of, the third row or the second row. Now, those have all been entered in as presumptive blood right now. We aren't at the witness where they basically go through it and do all the DNA. But basically, all the evidence from the car and the recycling bins has been entered in, and then we can probably expect that tomorrow we'll get witnesses that might expand more on this. That being said, housekeeping stuff, the judge has been great, and it looks like going forward, there will be half days on Fridays due to her having either a longer trial that she's doing elsewhere or continuing education. I can't remember which. So it looks like we'll have a full day tomorrow and then a half day on Friday, which works for me because this is a bit of a monster of a case. But I hope that if you haven't been able to be with me this entire time, that breakdown gives you a little bit of kind of what went on today. I will be making that a separate video. So if you see a video of breakdown of day 3, it's nothing new. It's just this with a different thumbnail. I have found that my motivation to do breakdown videos dies once I hit end stream. So this is a way to kind of get both things done and still give you guys the information both ways. So thank you for joining me on the Petty Express. Thank you for helping me keep my sanity in this crazy what the hell case. And I hope to see you again tomorrow, not only for the Petty Express, but for Mornings with Mo. I do headlines, true crime, and the absurd. And if you have any questions about that, you might want to check out the last, I would say, 20 minutes of Mornings with Mo today. You will cry your eyes out laughing. You have been warned. It's not safe for work. Have earbuds in. There's a lot of cursing, but it's hilarious. Thank you guys. I am going to head off of here and go get some food and then start my job as homework warden. So, don't be peanut butter and jealous of my glamorous life. I will see you all bright and early tomorrow morning. So thank you guys. And you are free to go wherever in the interwebs you wish to go. Bye, you guys.